Uncle Michael, and I'm here to give you some piano lessons or organ lessons, synthesizer lessons. All the things I'm going to show you, you can apply it to any kind of keyboard, and I hope you'll be able to get some tips from this that you can use in playing keyboards and family inspirations, meetings, witnessing meetings, even for your own pleasure, and some simple ways to use your keyboard to make chords and be able to play out of family songbooks. This won't be a classical music lesson. We're not going to be studying a lot of the technical aspects of music or writing music, but I'll try to teach you some things that should be pretty easy to grasp, and a lot of things I just picked up on my own, not things that I necessarily learned out of a book or from a teacher. So I don't think we have quite enough time maybe to have a whole series of classical lessons, but maybe you can work on that kind of thing in the millennium. So we'll try to make this real simple, and I hope it's an inspiration to you. Thank you, Lord. We won't be studying written music, but I will show you just this one scale here. You can find this in your School Days Part 2 Child Care Handbook. A scale like this on page 387. And this just shows you where the various notes are on the scale and their names up here. And it shows you that there's a special note, which is we usually consider to be right in the middle of everything. This is called middle C. So I'll show you this drawing now of the scale, which is just like a piano. Oh, by the way, if you want to study more about written music, or if you're just beginning, you can look in that same School Days book from page 342 up to page 388. Is all about that, a really fine class on the basics of written music. Okay, so here we have the scale, a picture of a keyboard. They're all the same, whether you have a piano, organ, synthesizer, whatever. You'll always find these 2 black notes surrounded by white notes, and then 3 black notes. Now the easy way to find C is that it's right to the left of the 2 black notes here. Now you might notice, okay, I'll put this down here, you'll notice that this is the same here, and it's the same here, it's the same here. It just repeats, repeats, repeats all the way up the keyboard. So, okay, we'll look at the keyboard itself now. This is C, as we just learned. It's the one to the left of the 2 black notes. And the notes just follow right on up in alphabetical order. C, D, E, F, G. Then we start over. A, B, C, and then we're back to C. And it continues on up some more. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Well, what are we going to call these notes here now? These black notes. Because C, D, there's no letters between that. We can't give it another letter name. Well, what we do is we know these black notes by their neighbors. So if I want to find out what this one is, I look around it. Now if there's a C here, then the note above C, I'm going to call it C sharp. So here's C, here's C sharp. Here's D, here's D sharp. Here's F, here's F sharp. G, G sharp. A, what's that? A sharp. Okay, now also, there's another way we can call these notes if we look at them by what's above them. Now if I see that this is, we have C, and here's D, now I can call the note below that D, I can say D flat. E, this is E, then this is E flat. G, G flat. A flat. B flat. So it's real easy. You want to find a G flat, all you have to do, go C, D, E, F, G, and go down one step to G flat. You want to find a D sharp, you go C, you find D, then you go up to D sharp. So that's not too hard, is it? And we're going to need these later. We'll come back to that. I wanted to show you a little bit now about how to put your hands on the keyboard. You don't have to do it exactly like this, but you might find it helpful. When I put my fingers on the keys, I try to remember to keep my fingers curved a little bit like this. I don't come up and play flat like that because I don't have as much control that way on my fingers. But if I keep them curved, then it's just like a typewriter. I can just move one finger at a time like this. And also, I don't have to move my whole wrist when I'm playing. If I want to go like this, I don't have to go move my wrist and my arm and everything like that. I've learned how to use just my fingers like this. Just playing with the tips of them like that. You might not think it feels comfortable at the beginning, but after a while, you'll find that it's very easy and you have a lot of control that way. And also, if you have to play fast, then you're just moving your fingers. You let your fingers do the walking. You don't have to move your whole arm up and down every time you play a note. So, another point here is that what do I do if I want to play and go farther up here? What am I going to do? I ran out of fingers. Well, what we usually do when we're going, now I'm using my right hand. As I go up, I'm going to cross under with my thumb like this and start again. 1, 2, 3. Now, I'll just show you the way we usually do. This is called a scale, by the way. This is a C scale, playing right up the notes like this. Or I can go down the scale, the C scale. Now I can continue up here, and this is the way they usually do it. You go like this. Now I'm counting this as 1. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can go like this. 1, 2, 3, and then cross under. 1, 2, 3, 4, cross under. 1, 2, 3, cross under. 1, 2, 3, 4. And if I'm finished, I can go ahead and use my little 5 there. Now on the way back down, I'll do the opposite. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Cross over. 3, 2, 1. Cross over. 4, 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. I had to practice all this when I was younger, and it takes some patience. But I'm glad I stuck with it because now it pays off. I don't think about that anymore, but if I go like this, it becomes very natural. Now with your left hand, you're going to do a little different because you're starting with, instead of starting with your thumb, you've got your little finger down there, right? So I'm going to call that 5. And this is how we do it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1, 4, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1. On the way back down, I can go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. You're just crossing under. That's what I'm bringing out. It's not even exactly how many, like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, but I'm just showing that as you go up, you can cross under with this hand. As you go down, you cross over. With this hand, it's the opposite. As you go up, cross over. As you go down, cross under. Like that. And then you can practice. Another thing is to try to play even, because you might find that your thumbs and your forefinger especially are quite strong because you use them a lot. You don't use your little finger so much. So when you play a scale, it might sound like this the first time. Because you got more power down there. So we practice, you try to get it so it's even. So they all have the same strength, the same volume. And then the same with your left hand. It's best to practice one hand at a time. And then you can do them together. You don't have to do all this to play piano, and you don't have to do all this to play in an inspiration. I'm just giving you some ideas for exercises if you want to learn to have a little more control over your fingers. But I did want to bring out that a lot of our best family musicians and songwriters and inspirationalists never had professional lessons, never studied classical music or learned how to play, read music or anything, but they just learned how to play a guitar or a piano just by ear. And the Lord can really use that. So you don't have to be too technical about it, but if you're interested in it and you have time, you can practice it a little bit. Okay, now I've showed you some of the basics about the keyboard, and what I'd really like to show you in this class now is about something that's called chords. Because if you go to look in your family songbook, you're going to see the first thing you're going to find is a chord in each line to show you what chord to play on a guitar, or you can use your songbook and you can play that chord on the piano if you learn how to make these chords. So here we go. A simple chord usually has 3 notes in it. Like a C chord starting on C will sound like this. This is called a C major chord. And I can play this chord here, I can play it here, play it down here, down here. As long as I start on a C, that's always called a C chord. Now, that's quite easy, isn't it? Just one. Think of this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, if I use 1, 3, 5, every other one. 1, 3, 5. That makes a chord. That's quite easy, isn't it? You could think, well, a G chord, that should be easy too. And it is. You can go down to G. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Very easy. That's a G chord. Play it up here. Still a G chord. Now, what's going to happen though if, like, let's try a D chord. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now I'm on the white notes here. Now let's say I will sing of the mercies of the Lord. Let's say it's in D. Now if I try this, I will sing of the mercies of the Lord. It doesn't sound right, does it? There's a little clash. Something doesn't fit. And you'll find that what you need here is you need to play that black note. I will sing of the mercies of the Lord. That sounds better, doesn't it? Now why do we have to use the black note this time? Well, I'm going to show you why. And I have a little chart here, which I fixed for this, just to show you that, we'll put both these here. Now, in a C scale, we went all on the white notes, like this, C, D, E, F, G. But if you'll look, you'll see that from C to D, you actually skip over a black note, don't you? See, this is what we call a whole step. Or let me put it this way. If I just went to there, that's a half step. If I just went from the white note to the black note, that's a half step. If I go from the black note to the white note, that's a half step. White to black is a half. Black to white is a half step. Now here's 2 white notes right next to each other. Okay, that makes a half step too. Now, let's start down here again. If I skip this black note, that's called a whole step. So let's look at the pattern in this scale, this C scale. We have C to D is what? That's a whole step. D to E, you skip over that black note, that's a whole step. Now E to F, that's just a half step. F to G, whole. G to A is whole. A to B is whole. Then we're up at the top again. B to C. What's that? That's just a half step, isn't it? Now, if you write that pattern out, this is what it looks like. Your first note, which is a C, to your second note is a whole step. Second note to third note, whole step. Third to fourth, what's this one? It's a half step. So I've written half down here. And I've just continued this on up, what we just went over here. You have whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. Okay, we'll go over this a few times in a few different ways, because I know it may not be clear to start with. Let's take, I'll just show you a C scale here. It sounds great. It's all on the white notes. No worries. Don't have to worry about the black notes. You can play songs on there. All on the white notes. Now, but if I go to, let's say I want to play G, a G scale. Now, if I start on G, something's wrong. I think I need this note. So, let's check this with this chart here. Our first note is G. The second note will go up a whole step. Second to third note will go up a whole step. Third note to fourth note is a half step. Now that fits really good, doesn't it? We're still on the white notes. Fourth note to the fifth note is a whole step. Fifth, 5 to 6 is a whole step. Now, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. After 6, what do I need? I need a whole step. That's why this one didn't work very good. I need to jump over that one and get up here. And this happens to be F sharp. You see, you've got C, D, E, F, F sharp. So you find out if you're going to play a G scale, you can stay on the white notes almost all the way. But up here, you got to hit that F sharp, going back down the same. Okay, let's try this on a D scale now, starting on a D note. Your first note, what's the first step you need? Whole step. So you go D to E. What do you need from 2 to 3? You need a whole step. Ah, I see. I got to skip over this and go up to here. D, E, F sharp. Okay, 1, 2, 3. After 3, what do I need? I need a half step. So, this is a half step. After 4, I need a whole step. It's up to there. So now, if I start my chord again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Remember when I was singing, I will sing of the mercies of the Lord. See, I needed this note, not this one, because that one doesn't fit my pattern here in the scale. So, and you'll find that wherever you start, whatever key on the piano you start on, you'll need a different combination of black notes in your scale, except for C. The C, you just go right up the scale, no black notes. But on other ones like G, you need 1 sharp. You'll find in D, you need 2 sharps. And each one is different. And you'll find in written music, this is just a point of interest, that here's a piece of classical music. You find at the beginning of every line, they'll show you what key it's in or how many sharps you need. Now this just has 1 sharp, and that's on the line of F. So I can figure out, oh, this music is in the key of G, because it just needs 1 sharp. Okay? Now if we take another key, let's try F. Let's see what happens in the key of F. We've got number 1 is F. Number 2 is a whole step. 2 to 3 is what? Whole. 3 to 4 has to be a half step. So that's wrong. I've got to go. I must go to a black note. After 4 to 5 is whole step. So I get to skip that white note and I get back on white notes here. 5 to 6, whole. 6 to 7 is whole. 7 to 8 is half. Just happens to work out. That half step is on white notes. That's easy, right? So in F, this is how it looks. 1 black note. And if I told you those note names, that would be F, G, A, B flat, C, D, E, F. So the key of F needs 1 flat. The key of G needed 1 sharp. The key of D needed 2 sharps. The key of F needs 1 flat. This is pretty technical, and you don't have to understand this. If you do understand it, it might help you in some cases. I'll show you this chart here, just to show you the pattern of what we were just looking at. This is called, well, this is just a diagram to show you. Inside this circle, I have the names of the keys, like the key of C is a scale, starting with the C note. And the key of G starts on a G note. Now outside here, you can see how many sharps or how many flats are in that key. C is no sharps or flats, 0. It's all on white notes. The key of G will have 1 sharp. Let me make this a little clearer. I want to show here how that if I start on C and I count up 5 notes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is G. Now you see up here, let me put this down here actually. G has 1 sharp. Now if I go up 5 more notes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, this key of D, 2 sharps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, up to A, 3 sharps. And it just continues. A, B, C sharp, B, 5 notes, E is 4 sharps. It's a pattern that it's sort of a mathematical pattern. Now if I go down, starting with C, I can go 5 notes down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We get the key of F, has 1 flat. Go down from there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The key of B flat. Oh, that's interesting. Here we have a key that starts on a black note. You can do that too. Let's look at this. A major scale starting on B flat. You go up a whole step to C, up a whole step to D. Then we need a half. That's E flat. Then we need a whole, another whole, another whole, and a half takes us back to B flat. So we found out we needed B flat and we needed E flat. And then we're back to B flat again. And this pattern of increasing flats will go up as you go as we go down 5 notes. B flat needed 2 flats in that key. Then if we go 5 more, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. E flat down here, that will need 3 flats, and so on. So there's a real order to it all, and if you get acquainted with it, it's very interesting. Okay, so let's try to make a few chords with what we've learned about this little pattern. Because I look in my songbook, I see, oh, a D chord. I need a D chord. So how am I going to make that on the piano? Well, I'll come over here, start on a D note, because it's a D chord, and I'll start counting 1. I want a whole step. Now I need to get this 1, 3, and 5 thing going here. Now I could just put my hands on the white notes, but I don't know if this is actually a D chord. I better check. Okay, I first need a whole step. We'll look one more time at the chart. Let's just remember this pattern. I think it'll make it easier. Whole, whole, half, whole. You got that? Whole, whole, half, whole. Okay, so remember that, and we'll try it starting on a D. D, I need a whole, and here I need a whole. Then I need a half, and then I need another whole. Skip that and get up to there. Now I don't need all these notes for my D chord. I only need 1, 3, 1, 3, and 5. Okay? But to be able to find them, you sort of have to be able to count up the scale. You have to make the scale there to find those. Okay, how about a E chord? Let's try an E chord. Now I want whole, whole, half, whole. Start on E. My first step is whole. The next step is whole. And where's the half? Is it here? No, it's down here. And then I need a whole. So find 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm sure that this probably looks a little complicated, but if you learn how to just count up there and make a whole and a whole and a half and a whole, you can make that chord. You can look in the song, you can find out what chords you need in that song, and then you just work them out. Now at first it takes a little time, but I don't think it's any harder than learning to play guitar. I know when I first started playing guitar, I had to really look at what I was doing, and I had to put my fingers on the frets and keep moving them back there because they'd slip off, and especially moving to another chord from a D to an A, that was difficult to get my fingers in the right place quick enough. But now I don't even think about it. I just sing and I play. And it can become the same with piano the more you use it. These different chords. Someone tells you, oh, play an F chord. Well, you just go right up there and C, D, E, F. You know that you start on an F. In this case, 1, whole, whole, half, whole. Oh, it works out that an F chord's all on the white notes. There's actually 3 chords that work out all on the white notes. There's C, there's F, and there's G. Now all your other chords are going to have a few black notes in them, but it's not hard. I mean, once you've practiced it and get familiar with it. Now, I'd like to show you, what do you think what's another chord that you often hear about? It's a minor chord, right? Now if this is a C major chord, then what's a C minor chord going to be like? Well, all you have to do to get a minor chord is make your major chord, like that, and then take the middle guy and move it down a half step. I just move it right down from there. That's C minor. Now if I go up to F, here's my F chord, take the middle note, move it down a half step. There's F minor. Okay, G, G minor. Let's try a D. Remember D had that black note in the middle? Okay, move it down a half step. There's D minor. Can you hear the difference? This minor has a slightly sadder sound. A happy major sound is like I will sing of the mercies of the Lord that we were doing. Now if I go to minor, you get a more kind of sad, serious sound, like there's a cry of revolution in my country. There's a cry of hatred and idolatry. See, these are all minor chords. That's how you can tell the difference, is there's a kind of a difference in the sound of it. Okay, so now you've got an easy way to find your major chords, and then to find a minor chord, you just move that middle note down 1 step, 1 half step. Okay, let's find another one. How about a B chord? We use a lot of B chords in the family. It's quite easy on guitar. Let's see what it's like on a piano. Start on a B, go up a whole step, go up another whole step, half step, and then a whole step is up to here. So if I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I've got these notes. I've got a 1 white note, and I've got a D sharp and an F sharp. And I think that's the only major chord like that has it's got a white note on the bottom and 2 black notes. These are the type of things you'll start to remember in your head the more you play. There's B. How do I get a B minor? Do I move the top one? No. I move the middle one, right? There's B minor. Okay. Another chord we use a lot of is sevenths, like G seventh, C seventh. Okay. So you might think, oh, that's easy. C7 must use the 7th note. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Well, this is a special 7th called a major 7th. It's all major and happy, right? But the 7th that we use, we don't call it major 7th, but we just say like a C7th is made by going up to 7 and then lowering that 1 half step. So this is C7. Okay, how about G. We'll take a G. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You have to get your black note in there. And then you lower that. You lower your 7th note half step and you get a 7th. Okay? How about a D 7th? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Start again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's your major 7. Now bring that top one down 1. There's a 7, a D7. Okay, now one more chord I'll show you is a minor 7th. We use quite a few of those. And that's very easy too. You just find your 7th. Here we were on D7. Let's take that. Take your 7th and lower that middle note of your D chord again. Now you've got a minor 7th. Okay, how about a C 7th? Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Major 7. There's a 7th, C7. Now I lower my thing to make it minor again, a little sadder sounding. That makes C minor 7. So I think with these chords, with your major chords, C major, C minor, 7th, minor 7th, with those chords you can play just about any song. In fact, you really can play any song that you find with those chords. If we have a little more time, I might try to cover some other chords later. We're having to move really fast. But I'd sort of like to go on and show you now that you have some chords, how you can use them. Let's take, for example, a G chord. Let's say I want to sing the song, All I Want to Do Is Serve Him. I look in my songbook, I need a G, I probably need a C, and a D, and maybe an A minor. Now I can figure those chords out ahead of time. Maybe I'll have a G here. Here's a C. Here's a D. Here's an A minor. So what should I do? I know the chords. How can I play it? Well, of course now you could just go like one day I took an honest look. I tried everything, I played every game in the book, but it's not so interesting, is it? But it's just kind of a steady accompaniment. It's better than nothing. You can do that. But actually, now that you know these chords, you can do some very interesting things with them. It's a little bit, again, like playing guitar. I think probably most of us in the beginning, to play and strum and sing at the same time maybe was a little difficult to get coordinated between your mouth and your hands. It's to play something straight on the piano and sing something different with your mouth is maybe a little difficult. Of course, if you're accompanying people, maybe you don't have to sing. You can just play and you can do different things here. What you should strive to do, though, is just play clean and neat and simple and steady and with inspiration and rhythmic, and that way everybody can enjoy it. Let's look at some different things you can do with a G chord, for example, on this song, All I Want to Do Is Serve Him. Now, I don't have to hit that all at the same time. I can hit those notes at different times, like this. Let's see. Let's make it the next most simple thing you might be able to do is like this. One day I took an honest look. You just move around on the notes. I tried everything, I played every game in the book. And you can move around like that. Or I could do a different pattern. You can make different patterns. One day I took an honest look. You see? You can go to whatever the chord is and do that same pattern on it. Now, here's another thing you can do. Watch this. I'll go to a C chord just to show this point. Here's C. Now I can also take this C and put it on top, up here. and I can leave it off there and have this left. And you know, this is also called a C chord because it has the three parts. It's got 1, 3, 5. It's just that I'm taking my 1 and I'm moving it up to the top. It still has the 3 notes in it, and we still call that a C chord. I can do that again. I'll take this bottom note, I'll leap over 1 octave to the same note, an octave higher. Now I have these 3 notes. That's also a C chord. So here's a C. These are called inversions. Just if you want to know the name that it's called. There's a C. This is called the root position because your root or your basic note of that chord is right on the bottom. But now I can go up to an inversion, put that on top over here, and get this. Up there. Again. I can do it again. Put this one on top. Now I'm back up to my root position. I've jumped up to here though. So watch, I can go. I can just continue right on up. If you learn that, I can do that with the D chord too. I just have to remember every time I get to F sharp, I got to hit that black note. I'm just hitting the same notes over and over again in different octaves. How about an F? Start at F down here. Now that's really helpful now because now I could go. Or let's try a little different rhythm. One day I took an honest look. I tried everything, I played every game in the book. I can do different things. I can go you can just make up all sorts of things however you want to play it, and it's quite pretty, isn't it? Now you notice I haven't been using my left hand yet. One thing I personally like to do when I'm playing is I like to have something solid down here on the bottom. Now we're working on this song, All I Want to Do Is Serve Him, so I can play what we call a bass note down here, which is a G. And I can do something like this. One day I took an honest look. I'm on a C chord, so I hit a C note down here in the bass. I tried everything, I played every game in the book. I'm going to go to A minor, and I hit an A note down here. It's very simple what I'm doing. I'll show you another thing you can do. You can go like this. See this note here? You've got a G down here. This is a D I'm hitting. That's also in a G chord. Watch here. G. These are all notes in the G chord. That's another note in the G chord, and it goes on down. But I can do something like this. Now this is sounding like you're really playing something it's rhythmic. See, that's one thing. The bass gives you a little beat, you know. Gives you a little downbeat. I'll show you one more pattern that you could use on this song, for example. I'll go up, G, B, D. I'll go up to the next D, and then down, like this. Now you can add something in the right hand. I can move this one around. There's just endless possibilities of things you can do. You'll probably have to practice it a little bit to get your hands to do different things at the same time. What's another example? Let's take a song like good old March or sort of a polka rhythm, like, again, I will sing of the mercies of the Lord. We'll play it with starting in C this time. Now, I don't know if you've ever watched a brass band, but they use the same, like you might have a tuba, that big metal instrument, playing something like this. Boom, 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 boom. You can have that down there, and then you can use your right hand to sort of answer it, do the offbeats like this. Very simple. I will sing of the mercies of the Lord forever. I will sing. I'm going to G now. Yes, I will sing. And that's a pattern, very easy to follow. Okay, how about something like, now you don't always have to be moving so much with your left hand. How about a song like, if we were going to sing Glory to the Father, for example, you want an E minor. Here's an E minor and a D minor. I'm sorry, you need a D major. E minor, D major. Now your bass note down here can just keep repeating, Glory to the Father, glory to the Son. And you just keep repeating like that and rolling these fingers over. And that's quite pretty. Now, again, you can do these different patterns up here. You could... Now watch, in my left hand, I'll try something different here. Glory to the Father, glory to the Son. You can make up your own ideas what you want to do. It's nice to have something rhythmic, though. Now, with the piano, you can't strum a piano, right? It's going to sound a little funny to go, one day I took an honest look. That's what it might sound like if you were strumming the strings on a guitar. You usually want to play some kind of something like that. Or again, if it's a rhythmic song, we were going like this. This is how you can get different rhythms with the piano. I'll watch this one. How about one day I took an honest look. So you can do different things. Like that. Let's see. Now, when you're playing, you notice I'm pretty much staying here. Because this is a G chord, and this is a G chord down here. And this is a G chord too. But this sounds a little funny. One day I took an honest... It's kind of muddy. It's not clean sounding. You find usually this area for the chords is nice. And this area down here, you keep your bass down there. You could also play up here. One day I took... It's a bit weak sounding, isn't it, up there? So you'll find usually you want to have your music kind of in the same range as the vocals where people are singing. Like this is a bit too high, and if it's all down here, too low. So if you keep it pretty much in the middle, I think you're going to get a nice sound there. I'd also like to show something about the use of the pedals too. Okay, so one thing I've been using here and we haven't been showing is the pedals. And this is often misused. What we usually do when you start playing a chord, as soon as you play the note, your foot goes on. Now, you know what the pedal does, right? It keeps the strings open so that you go like that, and they'll continue to sound. As soon as you let it up, the sound stops. Like that. Now, this is very nice when you're going. It makes all the notes keep going. Very pretty. But now if I change to another chord, if I keep it down, we're going to have a little bit of confusion. So basically, every time you change a chord, this pedal has got to come up. And if I was just playing, this is what comes to me naturally, is something like this. See, as you hit the chord, you let off the pedal from the last chord, and then you stick it on. Like... that's something you can work on too. Just to let you know, this is the soft pedal, and if you're wanting to play particularly soft, you can just put that one on, and that on most pianos will make your playing, will make it a little bit softer, like that. This particular pedal on this piano is just making the, it's giving it sort of a muted, dull sound. So that was the use of the pedals. Got just a few more minutes, so I'd like to show you a few more chords on the piano that you might run into in a songbook. And the first one I'll show you is a suspended second. You might see something like C sus2 written in your songbook. So how do you find a sus2? Well, you take your C chord, 1, 3, 5, and don't use the 3, instead put a 2 in there. This is a C sus2. How about a sus2? You find an A chord. There's an A chord. Drop your 3, don't use the 3, but use a 2. So a sus2 chord is 1, 2, and 5. 1, 2, 5. That makes sus2. If you're, whatever key you're in, E, 1, 2, 5. E sus2. sus4 is almost the same. Let's go back to C. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We've got 1, 4, and 5 makes a C sus4, like that. So remember, a sus4 is 1, 4, and 5. G sus4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now what if I see G7 sus4? Well, I go 1, 2, 3, 5. I get my 7th, not major 7th, but 7th. And then I drop this number 3 here, I make it a 4. There's a G7 sus4. Okay, how about a D7 sus4? I'll start with my D major chord. There's my major 7, move it down to 7, there's D7. Now move number 3 up to 4. D7 sus4. It's all very logical. You just got to piece it together. Start with the basic chord, and then you'll find your steps. Another one you might find sometimes is a ninth. And a ninth has it's got a 1, and a 3, and a 5, and a 7th, not a major 7th. And what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This is C9. How about F? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. All you have to do is just count the notes in that scale of that key. A ninth chord has a 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. It's just like a 7th, but you add this 9 up here. So now you can play different things. All these notes. I'm just playing the same notes that were here, but in different combinations. How about a C sus4 starting down here? At 1, 4, 5. Now if I continue up the same pattern, I'm just hitting all the 1s, 4s, and 5s in a C chord. Now if I do, it gives kind of a nice sound. This is the type of thing that Richard Clayderman does all the time. You just find a chord and you just go and move around on that chord, A minor. And if you practice it till it's smooth, it sounds quite pretty. So let me show you one more point here, is something called substitution. Because if I'm playing these 2 notes, and I want to go to these 2 notes, I can either use the same fingers, or I can use, I've got 1 and 3, I can use 2 and 4 to make it smooth. I can go back and forth. I can go one more, I can use 3 and 5 here. I'll just show you something that you might need to use on a synthesizer or organ, because on those you don't have a pedal. You can't hold out the notes. So how are you going to get to the next note and keep it smooth? Because as soon as you take your fingers off an organ, the sound's going to stop. Well, that far I'm okay. But what happens if I want to go up another one? Well, I'll just show you how you can do a whole scale. This is called substitution. 1 and 3. Then I go to 2 and 4. And this is the way they actually do it. Now I'll slip my thumb onto that note while it's still down. I'll slip my third finger onto that note. Now I'm back in my starting position, right where I was there. Slip there. 2 and 4. Slip 1 and 3 on there. Like that. You just go up like a spider up the... You can do it on the way back down too. 1 and 3, I slip 2 and 4 on there. You can try that. You can even do it with your thumb to make it smooth instead of... And this is used in a lot of organ music and stuff. Or going up, if you need to use it. Or you have something like this, 1 and 5. I can slip down here to the next one. I'll just use my thumb to go down to there. And I'll use my fourth finger here. I'll slip my fifth finger on there. And this thumb will go down to the next one. And I can keep going like that, right down the scale, very smooth. Okay, maybe just to end up here, I'll play a little bit of Psalm 121. And maybe you can just watch what I do with my hands, and I'll do a variety of things. There's no set way to play a lot of our family songs. You can just ad-lib. So we start with we need a C7, and we need an F, and a G, and a C. Now I'm using more than one bass note. I'm choosing a few different notes. I've got a C there, and this is my 5. If I took a C chord here, 1, 2, 3, there's another note in a C chord. Now this is kind of pretty, isn't it? Now, so I might do something like this. My help cometh from the Lord, which made heaven and earth. Now see, this is a C7th. I've got a C chord, and I'm borrowing this. If I wanted a C7th, you normally have it up there. If I can stick it down there, that sounds kind of nice. Put a little bass down there. These are things that there's no way you can learn it out of a book, but you just experiment and you find out what sounds nice. Now watch the intro. I could start the intro with solid chords like this. And then go into an arpeggio like that. So you can use different styles in the same song. Another thing, did you hear how I got louder? See, that's called dynamics. You can get soft, loud, you swell. Praise the Lord. I hope this has been an inspiration for you. And I really hope some of these tips help you, and maybe you can go back and rewind and replay some of these parts, maybe pause it or write it down in your notebook, some of these different tips. And I hope that you'll really use it for Jesus and His glory, and it'll really be a blessing to you and to many people. God bless you. I love you. Praise the Lord. Hope you have a good time as you watch this. And Lord Jesus, please do anoint it, make it simple and clear and help it to be fun. And we do pray that everyone will be able to use this music for your glory in Jesus' name. Really make it a blessing, Lord. Thank you, Jesus. So before we start and get into some more specific songs and how to play them, I'd like to give you some general tips and techniques that I think will help you. I'd like to mention here also that someone asked me if it was easy for me to learn the piano. I know that some of the things I'll demonstrate in this class seem like they're easy for me to play, and some of them are now, but I do remember that practicing at a young age was not always fun, and I'd quite often get frustrated when things didn't sound as good as I wanted them to. But I guess the Lord must have helped me stick with it, and if you're patient and keep trying and don't give up, you'll just get better and better too. It'd be good if you can get familiar, really, with doing scales in many different keys. For example, the key of G, you would start here on a G. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Now I'm going to have to hit a black note with my fourth finger, F sharp. Because in the key of G, you have to play one sharp, one black note. If I go down to the key of D, I'm going to find I have to play two black notes. 1, 2, 3. I'm still using the same pattern. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hitting that F sharp, crossing under with 1. Now I need a C sharp too in this key. Let's start again. So the key of D has two sharps. The key of A, we're starting on A, has three sharps. 1, 2, 3. There's C sharp. Cross under with 1. 1. And you need a F sharp and a G sharp in that key. But it's still the same pattern. It makes it very easy. Or if I want to continue, cross under with 1. So we are going to start the flat keys. The key of F has one flat in it. If you watch this, we go. Now this is a B flat. So we have 1. In this case, you notice like in the key of C, I went 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. In this key, it would be very inconvenient for me to go 1, 2, 3, and then have to cross under with my thumb and hit a black note. I'd almost have to hit it upside down with my thumb. So in this key, to make it easier, you reverse the pattern. You go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. So you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, and so on. Okay, that's F. Besides these major key scales, there are also various minor key scales. We don't have time here to show you the proper fingerings for all the scales in the different keys. For example, sometimes the best fingering may not even be starting with your thumb. But in general, try to find a pattern or fingering that allows you to play a scale the most easily. There are practice books which contain suggested fingerings for all the scales. And if you get familiar with these scales, I know if I'm going to play a song in the key of A, that I'm usually going to have G sharps and F sharps and C sharps, because I'm familiar with key of A. I know it has 3 sharps. So almost anything you do in the key of A, you're going to be hitting those same 3 black notes, those 3 sharps. So try to get familiar with these. It's kind of like guitar chords. When you first start, you don't know, exactly what you're doing, and you have to put your fingers there and kind of work it out. You start real slow. But by and by, you get familiar with it, so you don't even have to look. You can play different scales in different keys without even looking. You just learn where your fingers should go. And if you can get familiar with that, it'll really help you to get around to different chords and scales a lot quicker. Another scale you might want to use sometimes is called the chromatic scale. That's where you hit every single note, going right up the scale. This isn't so convenient, is it? Hitting those all with the same finger. There is a way where you can use just these first three fingers. 1, 2, 3. I'll just show you this. It's quite easy. You go 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3. And if you want to continue, 1, 2, 3. You see the pattern? Etc. Now coming back down, actually usually you can start with your fourth finger, but you want to get into this pattern of this 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1, 3, 1, 3, 2, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1. I'll keep going. 3, 2, 1, 3, 1, 3, 2, 1, etc. So, as I go through the video, I think we have a lot to cover today, and I'll try to be real clear about it, but you'll probably want to go back, rewind, and watch some sections over and over. So that's your chromatic scale. With the left hand, it would be like this, starting on C. 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3, 2, 1, 3, 1, 3, 2, 1. It's kind of logical and obvious when you get down to do it. But that's kind of fun. You can get to doing that real fast. Oh, another thing about scales, it's kind of a challenge, and it's kind of useful sometimes to be able to play them together. Once you get your fingers worked out. But of course you'd want to practice them individually first. You can play different keys too, etc. Oh, the chromatic scale. With all these points, I just learned to type a few years ago, even though I'd played piano all my life. And I just had to sit down and start real slow and put my fingers on the keys and learn where they went and just start typing real slow and making mistakes. But pretty soon I started getting it down to where I don't have to look so much. I'm still not a very good typist. But it's the same thing with the piano. If you just, whatever you're trying to learn, start slow, get it right, and then slowly pick up speed, because the speed will come with time. Let's see. I wanted to point out, if you are doing a song in the key of C, we'll just make a real simple part for, let's say, the song, I Will Sing of the Mercies of the Lord. Like, I will sing of the mercies of the Lord. You're going to use a C chord and a G chord and a C chord. Then in the chorus it goes, with my mouth will I make known thy faithfulness. I just wanted to point out at the end of the song there's this D chord. Thy faithfulness to all generations. So you've got a G, and suddenly you've got a D chord there. Now you notice the D chord has an F sharp in it. So I just want to make that clear, that even though you have a song that's in C, that some of the chords in your song may have black notes in them. In this case you've got the G and a D seventh I'm playing here, and a G. Another point in your playing is what we call dynamics. Dynamics is basically volume. It's the ability to take a normal scale, which would sound like this, and make it sound like this. It's like loud and soft, putting some expression in your music. It's very effective. Learn how to play loud and soft. Also, sometimes this is a little more complicated. We'll be moving into this a little later. But with one hand, even, you may want to play one part louder and one part softer. Like if we, let's see. Let's take that song, Whither Shall I Go? I could play the melody. but also at the same time I can have an arpeggio kind of going. You notice I'm playing the melody very clearly, but the arpeggio part of it, I'm making that soft. This is another case of dynamics. I'm bringing out the melody. The opposite would be so you have control. It's nice to get control in your fingers. You can play loud when you want and soft where you want. Another point of expression is, we could call it articulation. You can play smooth. It's called legato. Or you can play separate, which is staccato. So it's good, you can use different styles. Or you can do like one smooth one and one staccato one. It's good to learn to play in phrases. I mean, you can break up phrases any way you want. So that's another point of playing, is it's called articulation. And if you can catch on the camera, I'd like to show now the pedal work. The sustain pedal is a real important part of playing, especially slow music. Some folks sit down and it sounds pretty to have the sustain pedal and you just kind of leave it on, but if you leave it on while you're changing chords, it gets a bit messy. Like that. The key is, whenever you change chords, you've got to let your foot up on the pedal. Like if I'm playing a C chord, I'm going to change to an F chord now. When I change, you see my foot come up. Comes a G chord. You need to let your foot up before you play the new chord. You let up your foot right before the next chord, put it down right after the chord. That's another thing, it's another point that as you practice it, it's going to become second nature. So you won't even be thinking about it. You can be playing a song like this, and your foot's going to be going up and down all the time. Every time you hit a new chord, your foot comes up. That's kind of the way I feel. When I hit the chord, my foot comes up. This will make your playing much more tidy and clear. Okay, here's another little point. It's called glissando. Have you ever heard of that? It's when you slide your hand across the keys. And I just want to point out that the way you're supposed to do this is with your fingernails. You put your finger upside down. When you're going up, you might use your third or second finger. They usually put their thumb behind their third finger and go like that. But be real careful, because you can also tear your cuticles. It doesn't feel very good. Just gently slide up the keys like this. On the way down, you would use your thumb with your finger behind it, like that. That's the proper way to do that if you use that in any of your music. I'm playing on a piano today. This is a piano that sounds very much like a real piano, although it's not a real piano. But if you were playing like on another kind of keyboard, like an organ, you'll have some different things to deal with. For example, you don't have a sustain pedal on an organ. Anytime you let your hands up, the sound stops. So it's kind of a whole different approach on that one. If you want to play smooth things, you have to really control your fingers and make them stay on the keys. The advantage of an organ is like if you hold a chord. If I hit a chord on the piano, for example, after a few seconds it's going to fade away on any kind of string instrument like this. If I hit it on an organ, it would continue straight on, which is kind of nice, like if it was the background of a slow song and you wanted this kind of sustained sound behind it. On a piano, you got to keep hitting it over and over again. But with an organ, you could just hold it like that, and it'll go as long as you need it. You also have an expression pedal, a volume pedal usually, with an organ, so that you can go like, like you have volume control. You can swell up louder and come down. You can't do that with a piano. Another thing you can do with that pedal is the effect of like a surprise attack, like bah. You can hit a chord loud bah, and then back off the pedal real quick, like bah, and maybe come up again like bah, like trumpets would do when they were playing or something. So those are things you can do with an organ. One technique, if you are working on an organ, or any keyboard really where you don't have a sustain pedal, I even use it even though I have a sustain pedal and I'm playing on a piano. I like to use this technique sometimes. It's called substitution. This is a case where, let's say you want to play this line. Let me do it like this first. If you use the same two fingers, for every one of those it's going to get choppy, isn't it? It's not smooth. You could do this with your 5 fingers of your hand, but you get up to here and you're out of fingers. So how are you going to keep going up without breaking the sound, without having a break in the sound? This is very important for the organ. So they teach you this technique called substitution. So watch closely. I'm going to hit 1 and 3, and then 2 and 4. Now, I'm not going to go to 3 and 5. Instead, I'm going to slip 1 and 3 onto these keys here. See, I had 2 and 4 there. I'm going to put 1 and 3 on there and let 2 and 4 go. Let's do that again. 1 and 3, 2 and 4. Now, without letting up the keys, get 1 and 3 on there. Then you get 2 and 4 free again. Go to the next one. Get 1 and 3 on there, slip them on there. Pick up 2 and 4. And as you go along, it's kind of like a spider. But this is one of the basic techniques of organ playing. Likewise, coming back down, 2 and 4, 1 and 3, slip 2 and 4 on there. 2 and 4, you release 1 and 3. And you can get kind of fast at it after a while. It allows you to play smoothly instead of having to go to make a break between every new chord. Likewise, if I have a C chord and then an F chord, here's an F chord, I can slip, I've got 1, 3, 5, but I can slip 2 and 4 onto there and release 3 and 5 so they can go. So I've got, if I want to go up again, you can do this with these are what you call thirds because they're 3 notes apart. These intervals are called thirds. I'll refer to them as thirds. Another interval is sixths. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This interval is called a sixth. You can go 1 and 4, then 2 and 5. Then you substitute, put 1 and 4 on there again, and you've got 2 and 5 free again. Go backwards, 1 and 4, put 5 and 2 on there. This is kind of important when you're playing an instrument that doesn't have sustain, natural sustain, or when you let your fingers up, the sound is going to stop. It can give you a much more smooth sound. They even have, on an organ, let's say I'm playing a G chord and I want to go to an F chord. Well, okay, you see 1, 3, 5, and I want to get to this 1, 3, 5. Now it's easy for me to go 2, 4, but how can I get my thumb there without this note breaking? Well, it's easy. Just hold it on with that part of your thumb, the bottom of your thumb here, and then slip that over like that. I haven't got too much power doing that, but if you were on an organ, it wouldn't matter because the organ is not sensitive to touch. So I would do this. These fingers would come down here, and that finger, the thumb, slipped down there, and it would look like this. Now I can substitute, get 5 and 3 on here instead of 2 and 4, you see? Do it again. You just kind of spider yourself right down the keyboard. Likewise, going back up, let's say I've got the C chord here, and I want to hit a D minor chord. Well, again, 2 and 4, it's easy to go to 3 and 5, right? But this guy, the thumb, he's got to slide up there with maybe this under part. And you substitute 2 and 4 here. And you're just kind of dragging your thumb along, basically. But it ends up in a smooth sound, even without a sustain pedal. Otherwise, it would be like this. So praise the Lord. You can have fun with that. Substitution, that's called. Okay, now I'd like to get into some explanation about chords. You know what a simple C chord looks like. And you know that if you played a song with a C and an F and a G, that if you only know this form of the C chord, it's going to sound fairly amateurish. That's better than nothing. If that's all you know, you can still go. And that's enough to sing to. Another way to play this F chord, though, and I did cover this a little bit in the first class, is called another inversion of F. And basically what that means, let's take a C chord and get some different inversions of a C chord. Here's a C. If I take this C here, jump up, leapfrog over here up to another C up here, I've got another C chord. If I take the bottom note, leap over again up here, I've got another inversion of the C chord. And you can go right on up. These are all C chords. So most of you probably already know that. These are different inversions. So now when I get to it, when I want to go from C to F, instead of jumping up, having to move my whole hand up there, there's a neighboring F chord, very easy to get to, is this one. Because this is an inversion of an F chord. Normally this would be up there. That's what you call the first position of an F chord. But with this guy down here, that makes it very easy to get to an F chord. Now if I want to go to G, I can just go up to the neighbor there, G. I don't have to jump up to this first position always. I can just go from this F to this G. I'll be playing a lot of inversions today, and I'll try to point them out, some of the different ways to play those chords. But I'd encourage you to learn how to play the chords in different ways, because it'll give you a lot more variety in your playing. Let's say you just wanted to make some background music. That's much more melodic somehow than going. This way, I think it just has a nicer sound to it. So another point about inversions is if you make chords, look down here with your left hand. This doesn't sound very good. It's the same as this C chord, the higher C chords that I played. But it's a bit muddy down there, isn't it? Usually when you play chords in this range down here, it doesn't sound good to have too many notes close together. So it's nice to spread out your chords. Let's take this middle guy, your E, and we'll let him jump up one octave to this E and play it this way. This is a little bit more pretty, a little more clear. I'll come up to an F chord. Instead of this, play this. Like if I was playing an arpeggio, instead of going, listen to this. Makes quite a big difference, doesn't it? Also, we'll go into some different kinds of chords. I wanted to show you kind of a pretty thing that you can do by holding, let's say, this is a C chord, right? You've got your C chord and a C bass. Now, if I move my right hand up to a D chord, but I keep my left hand on a C, you would have what's called a D over a C chord. Like you might see it in the songbook written D/C. Let's go up one more half step to an E flat chord here. Still hold the C note. That's an E flat over a C, or an E flat /C chord. And it's kind of a nice progression. You can go. Another kind of slash chord would be like to have a C in your right hand, and instead of playing a C with your left hand, playing the bass, you could come up to the second note of the chord, which is an E, and play that in the bass. I'll jump down an octave here on the left. This is one kind of C. Here's a C over an E. And you hear this quite a bit in music. Here's an F, but an F over an A. It's a little more interesting than just playing the bass note always. Another example would be, here's a D chord. You could have a song that sounds like this, where your bass is walking down. That would be a D/C. And I'll give you another example. Would be that you hear quite a bit in music is a C chord, and then an F chord, and then an F with a G in the bass. So I got an F chord here and a G note in my bass. So C, F, F over G, C. So you're going to be seeing a lot of these today as I show you different songs. I just wanted to kind of explain it before we get into it. One more little thing is about harmonies. This is dissonance. This is harmony. You can hear the difference quite clearly. It seems like when you have two notes, you notice here two notes apart, like what I called thirds before. It always sounds nice. You can go anywhere you want. Thirds always sound good in harmony. Fourths, this is called a fourth. Doesn't quite have the same effect. Sounds a bit oriental. Fifths, the same. But now you get up to sixths, and these again are kind of pretty. So you find when you make harmonies that usually you can either use thirds or sixths. It might depend on whether you want to have a harmony on top of your melody. Like, let's think of a melody. I will sing of the mercies of the Lord again. Here's the melody. Now, if you put a harmony on top of it, I think a third would sound good in this case. Well, you run out of, now you got to change because of the different chord. But I'm just pointing out how that, at least to start with, this third sounds nice. If you want the melody on top, you could add a sixth below it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Have this problem here again. But again, if the melody is on top, usually your harmony will be 6 notes below it, a sixth. Or if you want to have the melody down here, put the harmony on top of it, it would be a third. So these are little things that are kind of the building blocks. Now I'm going to, as I mentioned before, I won't be teaching you entire songs today because what I want to do is teach you how to fish. I'm going to give you the parts, the ingredients, how to make a nice accompaniment for a song. And I think you can take it and you can play it any way you want. If I played one of these songs 2 or 3 times, I'd probably do it different every time. And I want to give you these basic building blocks. I also want to encourage you that everything I know I just learned by listening to records when I was younger, or now sometimes I still listen to family songs that are done. I mean, I work in a studio, but I can learn a lot from listening to other people's piano playing. Learning by listening, experimenting, trying to figure out what notes they played. I didn't have someone sitting down necessarily teaching me, but you can learn a lot just with your ears and sitting down at the piano, experimenting and trying different things. If you have the time and you have the opportunity, it's very helpful to learn to read music, if you can. If you're ever going to study classical music, you'll definitely have to be able to read music. But it's not really something you have to be able to do, to have fun on the piano and be a blessing to others with your music. Another thing is I'll be showing you how I do things, but of course another pianist might do it a different way. I'll also be showing you what I can do well, because if it was too hard for me, I wouldn't be doing it. So what you see me do are the things that I do well. Doesn't mean I can do everything. So, and if I do something that you can't do, well, you just take it and simplify it. Make it so that you can do it. Take out a few notes out of the chord, or make the rhythm easier. Make it so that you can do it and have fun with it, and by you'll be able to add on and progress and do just about anything you'd like to do. So, let's move into some interesting things here. I'd like to show you some different kinds of arpeggios. You know what arpeggios are? That's when you just go up the scale. Let's say this is a chord, but this is an arpeggio. It's like hitting the notes of the chord at different times. I'll show you an arpeggio that I taught to my friend Richard Claterman a few years back. Oh, that's a joke. This is one of the common ones that he uses a lot on his tapes. You just play the 4 notes of the chord. This is a G. Now I'm going to be going up the scale here, if you want to catch that. You start on a G, then you move up to the next note of the chord, move up to the next note. I'm just playing the different inversions of a G chord one at a time. But if you do that, and you do it kind of fast, it's quite pretty, isn't it? Coming down, the same thing. I can also do it with only 3 notes. See, I'm starting on the bottom note, then on the 3rd note, then on the 5th note. Just continue right on up like that. These are major chords. How about a minor arpeggio? Let's take a C minor. You can make a song like that. Here's a C minor, then a G, D minor. Just, you can make different patterns, choose different chords. You could use like a 7th chord. Here's a G 7th. You got your G chord and then add your 7th up here. And you could go up that scale. Take the next note. Take the next note. Just hit those. Every note in the chord becomes your new starting note next time. That's quite pretty. You'll find different ways to put your fingers on them, but try to get it. I won't get into the details of this because I'd probably never do it the same way twice. But try to do it so it's comfortable for your fingers. Learn how to use these guys out here too, your 4th and your 5th fingers. I do tend myself to emphasize my first 3 fingers. It seems they're more coordinated. But do try to practice with your 4th and 5th fingers in both hands. Because they're useful sometimes. How about a 6th, a major 6th? Here's a C. Add a 6 on there. Let's go up that chord. It's kind of pretty, like a little bit heavenly, like a harp might do. You could, let's take a C down here, a C 6th. Another one up here. Now I can go like this. Right up from my left hand, right on up through my right hand. And then move them all up to the next inversion. Move up to the next inversion. Next one. And it's kind of... How about I'll show you a diminished chord. Here's a C. A C diminished, you just move the 3 and the 5 down. Add that 6 up there. Here's a C. But let's do it this way. Here's a C6. Now just move the 2 middle ones down half a step. That's an easy way to get a diminished chord. You start with a major, add the 6, then move the 2 middle notes down a half step. That's a diminished chord. Take it from down there. Just going up the inversions of a diminished chord. How about a D minor 7? G7. So you can make something real pretty that way. That D minor 7, by the way, was this. Here's a D minor, and then add a 7th. Same thing in the right hand. That's kind of like a harp. We can come down too. Diminished. G7th. So those are some basic arpeggios. Let's see. Oh, another kind of arpeggio would be, let's take the 6th chord again. C, 6th. Now watch this. I'm going to go on up quite high up the keyboard here because I'm going to cross over. I'm going to go left, right, and then continue on up the same chord. I'll start slow. Here's a C6. Right hand. Left hand crosses over, same position. Right hand comes over. Now if I do this fast from bottom to top, it's like this. And come back down. That's when you see these guys go zipping up the keyboard real fast. It can actually be quite simple. You're just playing the same chord. Like let's take a D minor 7. It's real easy, every other white note. Right hand, same thing. Now if I'm going to take these and just roll them up. Roll up them. It sounds quite nice. Another nice arpeggio is a major 7. C, major 7. Or a 7th. So that's pretty, isn't it? Here's another kind of arpeggio where you take, let's take a C chord. I'm going to add one more note to the C chord up here. I'm going to drop this part of it. And I'm going to do first these 2 and then these 2. Let's add a bass note. Take the right hand up to D minor. Now G7. It's quite pretty, isn't it? That's kind of an arpeggio. Just alternating back and forth. Another thing you can do with arpeggios, let's take a, you might be coming down like this. Now you can put a little rhythm in there, like, add a little variety to it. C. You can make up your own rhythms. Just playing different chords, but just playing different rhythms on it, just making it up as I go, and you can do the same. Also, how about this? I don't know if you understand 8th notes and triplets and 16th notes, but I'll give you an example of, you could be doing an arpeggio going up like this. Now here I'm leaving out that middle note of the chord. I'm just hitting the first note and the fifth note. Then I'm back to what we call the root. This is a G chord, and this is the root of that chord. Here's the fifth again. That has a certain sound to it, doesn't it? Now, I can start like that. Then I can go faster. And finally, so I'm basically going like this in slow motion. I'm going 1, 2, something like this. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Then I'm putting 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And finally 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. You see, it's getting faster and faster. These are in groups of 2. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that can add excitement to your arpeggio as you're getting higher. You're also getting faster, like, let's say here's an arpeggio. I started with 2, and then I went to 3, and finally to 4. That's 2, 3, 4. So that's something you can play around with to experiment. Thank you, Lord. Oh, here's another kind of fun thing. Dad mentions one of his piano teachers taught him how to play chimes. I'll show you some different ways to play chimes. Let's take, for example, let's take a C chord. Here's your C chord. Now let's drop this middle note down an octave. Now this is still a C chord. The reason this sounds kind of like chimes is because when you hit a chime, there's not just a note of the chime itself, but there's like other notes, harmonics inside it. And these notes that you're actually hearing are some of the harmonics that are in a chime sound. Now if you just take that and walk right down the keyboard, it's kind of pretty, isn't it? It's like bells. Or you can watch this pattern. Go down 2 and up 1, down 2, up 1, down 2. Do it a little faster. It's nice, isn't it? How about this one? Let's take a C chord. Take the middle note and jump up an octave. Gives you that chime sound. Oh, notice that I'm leaving the pedal on too. I wouldn't want to go. That doesn't have a chime sound somehow. That's because chimes ring out. So you leave your pedal on. Or so there's a time to leave the pedal on when you want certain effects. Also, with these arpeggios I was doing, that's a very good time to leave your pedal on. Otherwise you have this, which is not quite the same. There's a time for that too. But usually on these Clayderman type arpeggios, you've got your pedal on. Okay, let's get into some rhythms of some songs. With the time we have left, I'll show you a real basic rhythm, which could be like a march or like a polka sort of rhythm. Again, it's the song, I Will Sing of the Mercies of the Lord. That's Psalm 89:1. This is one of the most basic rhythms you could do. You've got your chord in your right hand, and your left hand is going to be the bass. And I'd like to say also about any type of music like this, it's good to remember that you are the timekeeper. And people usually like to have a solid rhythm behind their playing. I think it's one of God's absolutes that we all like rhythm. So if you're kind of speeding up and slowing down, it's not so comfortable to sing to. It's good to learn how to play with a good regular rhythm. A lot of times we pianists tend to speed up and rush things a bit. So you might even find it useful if you have a metronome, one of those devices that keeps time with this little thing that ticks back and forth, or maybe your home has a drum machine or something. You could play along with that. Set it for a certain tempo and play along with it and see how steady you can keep your beat. You'll probably find out that you don't play very evenly at first, but you can actually learn how to keep a more steady rhythm like this. So here's your basic polka or march rhythm, like I will sing. And what am I doing with my left hand? I'm just playing this bass note down here. It's a C chord, so I play a C, and you usually find you can go down 4 notes, 1, 2, 3, 4, and just go back and forth like this. This is just what a bass guitar would do, or if it was a marching band, it would be what the tuba would probably play. Go to an F chord, F, C, how about a G? So that's your basic polka sort of pattern. It's pretty easy to do. And you can do that with any chord you choose. Here's a A flat, E flat. So you can learn how to, I think that's pretty easy to pick up that one. A slight variation on it would be, let's take a song like Standing on the Promises. Standing on the Promises is not this oompa sort of beat, but it's kind of a bouncy thump da dum da dum, like standing on the promises of Christ my King. And watch, see what I'm doing? That's all I have to do to sing that song. I'm just hitting a G over and over again. Standing on the promises of Christ my King. C chord. Now you can also go, you can walk your bass down like this. Notice the left hand? It's kind of a nice sort of classical bass line for this type of song. Standing on the promises of Christ my King, through eternal ages let his praises ring. That's sort of a nice sound to it. Now I don't have to keep this hand here just playing on the beat on this particular march. I can do this. It's got a little more bouncy sort of feeling to it. Standing on the promises of Christ my King, through eternal ages let his praises ring. You see you got yourself a nice bouncy rhythm that everybody can swing to and sing that song with a bit of feeling. Another song like that is Don't Give Up. If you're feeling a little down in the dumps, even if you're sick with the mumps. You see, you just rock back and forth, your bass and your right hand. Praise the Lord. Okay, another kind of beat. Oh, I want to show you one more thing about these type of songs. Let's take Psalm 89:1 again. I was singing the mercies of the Lord. Watch this. You hear that all the time, right? It's very common. You're walking up to your bass line there. This is my left hand, if you've got it there. Let's go down to a G. You can always walk up to the next chord. You can walk up to whichever way you're going up or going down. Another kind of a nice thing you'll hear quite often is when you come up like this. Now watch with my right hand, instead of doing the same, if I move up, remember we saw how the harmonies in thirds usually work very good. Watch if I take a note that's 3 notes up. Instead of the G, go, and I go like this. That's kind of nice. Let's go up to an F chord. Now the left hand is going to go start on a C. Let's have the right hand start a third above that C. Just kind of a nice little harmony thing you can add in there. Or I can do it down here. So, praise the Lord. Thank you, Jesus. I want to show you all these little tips, and you can throw them into your playing, and it just kind of spices it up so you're not always just doing one movement with your hands. Another point about that one was, here's this thing I just showed you again, coming from a G up to a C. Now watch this. I'll hold my thumb on this G note. Kind of pretty. You put these guys go up, but your thumb stays on the G note. Or if I was going from a C to an F, leave your thumb on the C. Or back down to a G. Show you one more. Move your thumb down to the next note down. This makes a G7 chord because you got the G and this is the 7th. I can go like this and then a C. I'll show you that again. Here's the basic thing we were learning. Here's your F, which is the 7th, the G7th. Or C7th to F. It's a nice little chord progression. Thank you, Jesus. We're going to wrap this class up. Still got a lot to tell you, so please come back for our next class, and we'll see you then. God bless you. I really love you. Bye-bye. So that's your basic polka sort of pattern. It's pretty easy to do. And you can do that with any chord you choose. Here's a A flat, E flat. So you can learn how to, I think that's pretty easy to pick up that one. A slight variation on it would be, let's take a song like Standing on the Promises. Standing on the Promises is not this sort of beat, but it's kind of a bouncy thump-da-dump-da-dump, like standing on the promises of Christ, my King. And watch, see what I'm doing? That's all I have to do to sing that song. I'm just hitting a G over and over again. Standing on the promises of Christ, my King. C chord. Now you can also go, you can walk your bass down like this. Notice the left hand? It's kind of a nice sort of classical bass line for this type of song. Standing on the promises of Christ, my King, through eternal ages let his praises ring. That's sort of a nice sound to it. Now, I don't have to keep this hand here just playing on the beat on this particular march. I can do this. It's got a little more bouncy sort of feeling to it. Standing on the promises of Christ, my King, through eternal ages let his praises ring. You see, you got yourself a nice bouncy rhythm that everybody can swing to and sing that song with a bit of feeling. Another song like that is Don't Give Up. If you're feeling a little down in the dumps, even if you're sick with the mumps. You see, you just rock back and forth, your bass and your right hand. Praise the Lord. Okay, another kind of beat. Oh, I wanted to show you one more thing about these type of songs. Let's take Psalm 89:1 again. I was singing the mercies of the Lord. Watch this. You hear that all the time, right? It's very common. You're walking up to your bass line there. This is my left hand, if you've got it there. Let's go down to a G. You can always walk up to the next chord. You can walk up to whichever way you're going up or going down. Another kind of a nice thing you'll hear quite often is when you come up like this. Now watch with my right hand, instead of doing the same, if I move up, remember we saw how the harmonies in thirds usually work very good. Watch if I take a note that's 3 notes up. Instead of the G, go, and I go like this. That's kind of nice. Let's go up to an F chord. Now the left hand is going to go start on a C. Let's have the right hand start a third above that C. Just kind of a nice little harmony thing you can add in there. Or I can do it down here. So, praise the Lord. Thank you, Jesus. I want to show you all these little tips, and you can throw them into your playing, and it just kind of spices it up so you're not always just doing one movement with your hands. Another point about that one was, here's this thing I just showed you again, coming from a G up to a C. Now watch this. I'll hold my thumb on this G note. It's kind of pretty. You put, these guys go up, but your thumb stays on the G note. Or, if I was going from a C to an F, leave your thumb on the C. Or back down to a G. Show you one more. Move your thumb down to the next note down. This makes a G7 chord because you got the G and this is the 7th. I can go like this. And then a C. I'll show you that again. Here's the basic thing we were learning. Here's your F, which is the 7th, the G7th. Or C7th to F. It's a nice little chord progression. Thank you, Jesus. We're going to wrap this class up. Still got a lot to tell you, so please come back for our next class, and we'll see you then. God bless you. I really love you. Bye-bye.